All right, guys. So I just came back with an F1 2021 League Race video, and I said that I was back to the regularly scheduled programming, but I actually temporarily lied. And the reason for that is for this one, probably last GT Sport video that I upload to this channel, probably likely in the history of the channel, if I had to guess. There are a lot of qualifiers there so that I can hopefully have an out if I then decide to ultimately later upload some more GT Sport gameplay. But the fact of the matter is, GT7 comes out 1 week from today as of filming or recording this right now. It's February 25th, and GT7 comes out next Friday, March 4th, I believe. I hope that my math is correct there. And so I'm probably not going to play this game anymore. I had some thoughts about maybe getting the platinum, and it's for a lot of reasons, it's just not going to happen. The main reason is because it would take me hundreds of hours of game time to make that happen, so I'm just not going to do it. My F1 2021 league, we're in full swing on a new season, so I'm racing every Wednesday in that. That's taking up time, and obviously, I practice for the races as well, though not don't practice enough. If the last race is anything to judge off of, when I bend it at Suzuka, but that's really not for you guys to concern yourselves with. You're never going to see that video just because I did, in fact, bend it into the mud, into the shadow realm. So you're not going to see it. But back to what I was saying is I've been playing some ACC, the PS5 version. You may see videos on that, depending on if I ever have a good race in ACC. You should be seeing some GT7 coming soon. I plan to get it at release, so you should be seeing it pretty quickly. I would probably say. I mean, there's going to be a lot to do in that game. And I'm familiar with Gran Turismo, so it should be hopefully a pretty smooth and easy transition into that game. Maybe less of a difficult transition than I had into ACC, or am having, I should say. But what you're actually seeing here, as I haven't actually touched on yet, is you're seeing the last mission challenge in Gran Turismo Sport. So the Gran Turismo Sport has 64 mission challenges, and you can get a gold medal, silver medal, bronze medal, or no medal. And I have done all of them other than this race up to this point. And this race that I'm speaking of here is a 4-lap Chasedown on the Nordschleife. So it's one of those that if you watch the recent video that I did about one lap on this track, it's really, I think the main thing for me is just trying to keep it on the track while also just being kind of smart, and just keeping in mind that, yeah, you need to be fast, but also being fast is useless if you bin it. So I've been trying really hard, especially with this mission challenge, to just keep it on the track and just be smart. And I will be honest with you, I've tried this mission challenge quite a few times. I wouldn't say that I've tried it 100 times, but well, when you consider starts and restarts, yeah, it's possible that I've done it 100 times. Because there are levels, I think, to binning it. There are a few times in this video, if I remember correctly, where I do kind of go off track and lose a little bit of time, but it's not the kind of stuff that completely derails you. But then there are other times when I find myself in positions where I'll bend it off the track, and I'm just completely in the mud. And so I think, again, there are levels to it, and I just try to keep the levels pretty small. So you saw me start P16 here, and you get 4 laps to chase down the leaders and hopefully get first place. And you do have to refuel once, so there's a little bit of strategy, I guess, involved with that. Refueling is really just, that was a nice little pass, I thought. Kind of pushed the AI a little bit. Oh, and I didn't actually get to pass. Kind of pushed. I definitely bullied the AI. I was bullying the AI all day in this, and frankly, I'm not that sorry. If there were real people, I would be, but with it being the AI, I'm not that concerned about it. So you get 4 laps to do this chase down. You have to refuel once and change tires. So there's a little bit of tire strategy, I would say. I started on the softs here. and I can't remember what I went to, but there's no rule about changing compounds, so I seem to remember maybe that I went to the softs again. This corner always trips me up, and you see it there. I go off. Luckily, don't lose a ton of time. Still manage to stay decently far in front of this guy behind me, and I'm roughly 26 seconds off the leader at this point, and we are about 5 minutes into the race. And with it being probably um, how long is a lap? 6-ish minutes, 7-ish minutes, something like that. That's a good question. Probably more like 8 minutes actually in these cars. I guess we'll see very shortly. I've got a Jeff Gordon racing suit on, the DuPont Rainbow. It's beautiful. I think you might have seen it actually recently in my recent GT Sport video where I uploaded the win that happened at the Red Bull Ring. It's a good looking suit. Anyway, I digress a bit. I think the key thing for me here was extracting as much speed as I possibly could out of the car, but just keeping it on the track. And like I said, you saw me go off track there a minute ago, but it was minor enough that it didn't cost me more than a second or two, which is not the end of the world by any means. In a race that's 4 laps on this track, you definitely have a lot of time to make up for your own mistakes and hopefully fix your own mistakes. So I think, though, that I do want to briefly mention just kind of being done with this game, just sort of reflecting on my time in this game. Gran Turismo Sport is a game that I really enjoyed quite a bit. I initially got it. It came out in something like 2017, 2018. I got it early in the pandemic, 2020, and I played it a bit. Frankly, I didn't love it the first time around, and I sold it. I got the physical version, and then I sold it pretty quickly. I mean, I played it for 2 weeks maybe, and then sold it. And then there was a sale. And this was probably early 2021. There was a sale on the digital version on the PlayStation Store, and I decided to give it another try. And I fell in love with it a lot more the second time around, but also put myself at the disadvantage of not starting the game until roughly 3 years after it was released. So I put myself at a real disadvantage in terms of getting the Platinum Trophy and really achieving everything that is possible to be achieved in this game. I do feel good about the fact that I completed the circuit challenges, which are just essentially time trials on all the tracks in the game, and you have to get under a certain amount of time to get the gold medal. I completed all of those, and I am working currently on my last of the mission challenges in the game, which are similar to what I just mentioned with the circuit challenges, but they're just actual race events. So they all take the format of what you're seeing here, where you basically get spawned into the game and you are near the back of the pack, and then you just have to make up some spots and then maybe think about some strategy, maybe think about some decision making and that sort of thing. But it's basically the difference of actually doing a race versus doing a time trial. So I feel good about having achieved that. There are certain things in this game that I was just never going to do without another 100, 200 hours of play time. One of those was get to a certain level in the game, level 50 in the game. And the way the scaling of the levels works is sort of obscene. I'm currently level 32 as of the last time I opened the game. And the levels don't scale. They scale exponentially, I'm pretty sure. I saw a chart one time of it, and it is kind of crazy. It's something like, and I don't know exactly how the differences work in lower levels, but getting from level 49 to level 50 is something like 2 or 3 times the gap between level 48 and 49 or something like that. And, that scales all the way through. So I don't know the exact numbers, but maybe getting from 49 to 50 is like getting from level 1 to level 2 10,000 times or something. I don't know. It's obscene. I saw a Super GT stream recently where he just finished the Platinum Trophy, and that was his last trophy. And he was just absolutely grinding races to try to get that last little jump up to level 50 of driver rating, which I think is maybe not the toughest part, but the most time-consuming part of the Platinum Trophy here. And as I mentioned in previous videos, there's one for wins online in sport mode, poles online in sport mode, and races completed online in sport mode. And the races completed is not necessarily difficult. It's really just a matter of getting on, running the races, finishing the races, and not quitting. And you can't crash out in this game, so not quitting, I guess. But it's something like 322 races. The races take 20 minutes of game time, and that is assuming that you don't do any qualifying or anything, which you would need to get the poles and the wins. So you think about that, and you just do the math pretty quickly. 322 races times 20 minutes, that's 6,400 minutes. You divide that by 60 minutes per hour. That is 107 hours of game time, solely for one trophy of getting a certain number of races done. And it is an absolute grind, and some of those races are not fun. Some of those races are tough and hectic, especially if you're really competing for the win. But even if you're not competing for the win and you're literally just hopping on and doing the races, I mean, you still have to drive around the track for almost 20 minutes. So it's quite the grind. And then the poles and the wins are the same way. To get the poles, you have to do qualifying, and you have to get good times at qualifying, because the way the lobby matchmaking works is you get paired by safety rating, and then you just get randomly assigned within the pool of drivers. So let's say 1,000 drivers sign up for a race, and 500 are at my safety level. Then there are something like 20 lobbies or whatever, and you just get randomly assigned. So you have to hope that your time trial time is better than the other guys or girls who are in your lobby, or you're not going to get the pole. I thought that was a decent little pass, and he's kind of fighting me for it, but I sort of just left him behind there. Might have forced him off the track. Good job, Joe Bodon. But to get those poles really takes a lot of grinding in time trial to get these really good times. And it's also, I would note, the time trials they don't last forever. There's a new race that pops up, and then you have to do a new time trial. So let's say the race is Red Bull Ring with Super Formula cars. You have to go do the time trial at the Red Bull Ring with the Super Formula cars. And let's say the next race is at the Red Bull Ring with Formula One cars. Then you have to then go and do the time trial again with the Formula One cars at the Red Bull Ring. And you have to get a really good time to get a pole. And then on top of that, you have to make a go at getting wins. And it's tough to beat guys online who are good drivers. So you see me there, finally get into first place. I talked over and through it just a little bit, but check out those pit crew uniforms. You see me come in. You see me put on the tires. I'm pretty sure that I just skipped the refueling. But I always thought the pit animation is pretty cool, so I wanted to show you guys that. 10-second stop duration, 16 seconds in the pits. And we get into this lap. And I am P2. We're on the third lap here. So as long as I can find some way to get ahead of this guy over the next 2 laps, and I've already pitted, by the way. I've already got the tires, and I've already got the fuel. So I should have fuel to finish the race, and my tires should be fine. So as long as I can find some way to pass this guy in the next 2 laps, and then stay ahead of him for the rest of the race, it's finally mine. After many, many, many tries of trying to get this gold medal, it will be mine. So I can feel it tantalizingly close, and I will say that I've been here many times before, and I've bent it, I've put it in the mud. So I'm hoping to break that streak this time and actually get the job done the right way. I was pretty tight with this guy at the beginning of the lap, and then I just run into the back of him and run myself off track and lose a ton of time. And by the time I get back onto the track, it was almost 3 seconds back, and I had to work to catch him throughout the rest of this lap. So fast forward to a bit later in the lap, he maybe brakes a bit more than he needed to, and I get the pass done and leave him in the dust behind me. Fast forward to the 4th lap. This is about a lap later. We're 34 minutes of game time in. I've got almost a 6 or 7 second lead go off the track a little bit, bin it. My lead comes down to less than 2 seconds now. 1.5, 1.4, 1.3, 1.2. This is a decently straight section here, and I completely lost all speed. So I'm less than a second ahead. He's right there behind me, and I am incredibly worried about him catching me. 0.8 seconds now. It's up to a second, and I am about to cross the line and get this long-awaited Mission Challenge dub that I have looked for and waited for and tried many times. So at the end of the day, this victory margin is going to be less than 0.3 of a second, 0.215 seconds. But it counts, and we'll take it, and we will look forward to Gran Turismo 7.